In this situation, we know that we're dealing with a linear situation, and that's because every day the height is increasing by 1.2 centimeters. Now, a linear situation is one where if x goes up by 1, we're adding the same number to y each time. In other words, every time the number of days goes up by 1, the height is going up by 1.2. We're adding 1.2 to that. An exponential situation, on the other hand, would be one where as x goes up by 1, we're multiplying y by the same number. So in this situation, we know that after 12 days, the height is 36.8. We also know that the slope is 1.2. Now, slope is change in y over change in x. And the y in this situation is the height, because we're measuring the height. And the x is the number of days, because the height is going up with respect to the number of days. And that's 1.2, which is really 1.2 over 1. Any number is itself over 1. And so what we're saying is that the height is changing by 1.2 every 1 day, which makes sense because that's what the question said. So what we have here are a point and a slope. And that means that we can use the point slope equation of a line, which you should definitely know by heart. It's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Super important equation for you to know by heart there. Now, we're going to take the x and the y of this situation, and we're going to call them x1 and y1. And so it'll look like this. Y minus 36.8 equals 1.2 x minus 12. Then we can distribute the 1.2. 1.2x minus 14.4. And now when we add the 36.8 over to both sides, we'll get 1.2x plus 22.4. So what do we know right now? We know that we have a line with a y-intercept of 22.4, and it has a positive slope, so it'll be tilted upward, and that slope is a slope of 1.2. So the question is asking us, what was the height at the beginning of the study? In other words, that's right here. That's at day 0 when x is 0. For the purposes of this plant growing, this part doesn't really exist because there was no plant. There was no real negative number of days. But the time the plant started was right here when the height was 22.4. And that is the answer to our question, 22.4.